Walmart's revenue is up $150 billion over the last 5 years. And at the same time, they're laying off hundreds, if not thousands, of employees, of team members. The workforce is shrinking. Why? Artificial intelligence, boys and girls. Robotics. Everything is being streamlined. Now, they recently went through a restructuring, Walmart did, of 1,500 corporate jobs, global tech, e-commerce fulfillment, advertising, store support training, which at its face, you might say, oh, that's just restructuring, that's normal stuff. Guys, the reason they're able to do that is because of artificial intelligence and the automating of administrative functions, okay? But guys, it's not just gonna stop there, and it's not just Walmart. Retail layoffs are up 250% year over year. From this time last year, retail layoffs up to over 250,000. Retailers have announced 80,000 job cuts through July of 2025. So don't tell me it's not happening. This is just the beginning too. I mean, this is just the beginning, guys. I've seen projections that 6 to 7.5 million US retail jobs could be automated over the next several years. And it's going to affect tons and tons of positions, everywhere from the CEO to the cashier. It's everywhere, guys. It's a huge issue that people aren't talking about. 40% of retailers are already using artificial intelligence, and that number is expected to double by the end of 2025, right? And today we're going to kind of talk about where these positions are, who's especially vulnerable. I think you're going to be kind of surprised by my takeaways over what's going to happen over the course of the next 12 to 18 months, what's already happened, and what I predict is going to occur in the future. Because guys, AI, machine learning, computer vision, robotics is beginning to touch every single area of retail, from the supply chain management to the customer service rep. It's everything. It's everything. So let's start by just saying, if you want to be in the know about AI and what's happening, this is the time that you like and subscribe to the channel. I'm bringing you videos Monday through Saturday, totally free. So subscribe, guys. What are you waiting for? I'm bringing you the hottest news all day, every day. So let's look at Walmart's AI playbook. They've got this huge windfall, $150 billion revenue increase. I remember when I was a kid, Walmart was just kind of like another store. Now Walmart is the store. And also, just a quick side note, we're not talking about Target and Kroger's and all the other big retail outlets, but they're doing the same thing too. This is not just Walmart. We're using Walmart as an example because they are the largest retailer, they are the largest employer in the United States. But let's just say that other companies are doing this as well. So they've got this growing workforce, and they're growing profits and shrinking their workforce. Guys, this is a direct correlation with AI investment. It's already happening. What's crazy to me is what's happening in their warehouses. I covered this in another video about what Amazon is doing. I'll share a link to it here. What Amazon is doing in their warehouses is astounding. They now have 1 million robots in their warehouses. They now have more robots in their warehouses than employees. That's Amazon. I'll share a link to that video here. But Walmart is doing the same exact thing, guys. They have 4 times the efficiency with 50% fewer staff. In fact, 15 of Walmart's 42 distribution centers are now automated. And these support 1,700 stores. And guys, they are set to double that number because it is crushing. These robots are handling storage, sorting, packaging, and they have slashed labor needs and cut costs by 20% in cold storage facilities. That's crazy. It's not going to stop. And you know what's funny to me? I know a lot of people like to disagree with me in the comments, which is fine. This is very emotionally charged stuff. It's important to you as a man to be able to support your family, to have purpose in the world by having a job, by having something that has meaning to it. So I understand that it's very personal. It impacts your pocketbook if you're an investor, if you're spending and putting money away wisely. So I understand this is emotionally supercharged for you, but it's funny to me because about a year ago, I got a comment from someone who was a warehouse worker, and he was very upset. He was like, Mark, warehouses can't do it, or these robots can't do what I do. I'm too important to the value chain, blah, blah, blah. Guys, the proof is in the pudding. Now you're seeing layoffs happening all over the place in warehouses. There's more robots in warehouses than humans, and that's not going to stop. That's not going to stop. If you think it's going to stop, feel free to flame me in the comments, but it's not going to stop. It's going to continue. The profits and the efficiency is too profound. And as AI gets better and better, it's only going to accelerate. As I mentioned earlier, so we talked about warehouses, corporate jobs. Walmart just a couple months ago, restructured and cut 1,500 corporate roles, primarily across global tech, e-commerce, marketing teams. It's part of a larger restructuring aimed at streamlining operations and embracing automation. Guys, that is artificial intelligence in a nutshell, right there. Embrace the efficiency, cut the gut. I mean, Elon did this with Doge. All these companies are doing it. And, this is kind of interesting to me too. These are the white collar workers. I mean, the promise with AI was that you won't need a team anymore. You can fire your team and just let robots and AI do all the work. And we might get there. But right now what we're seeing is all that middle management is getting cut out. All the all the professionals that have been in companies for 10 years, 20 years, who have just been kind of like filling gaps. Let me put it this way, and this is a challenge to you. Sit down today and just take 5 minutes. Sit down and write a list of what are all the functions that you serve in your company. What are you doing? Or just say, what did you do this week? What did you do this week? Okay, probably stuff like answering emails. I had 5 or 6 meetings. Write down a list of all the things you did this week, and then ask yourself and be honest with yourself. How much of this could I automate? How much of this could I automate? And if you don't know, feel free to put in the comments, and I'll tell you what my opinion is. And if you're not sure, you can ask ChatGPT too. Write it all down, take a picture, upload it to ChatGPT, and ask, how many of these roles could I automate? And my guess is that there's a good percentage of your roles that could be automated, and that's what Walmart sees too. That's what Walmart sees too. And as a result, they're trimming the fat, guys. They're trimming the fat. And if you're not willing to learn and adjust, you're going to be on the breadline soon. And my recommendation, I'll get to my recommendations at the end. Okay, just be aware that Walmart is cutting large percentages of their white collar staff in their corporate offices. But again, it's not just them. So let's zoom out and let's look at the retail industry as a whole. So retail is 10% of the US workforce, okay? There's about 15.5 million retail workers, and about 65 to 75% of them are customer-facing roles. Retail jobs, and this is interesting, guys, retail jobs are down since 2017. They're down from 15.8 million jobs to 15.5 million jobs. Retail now makes up 9.8% of total non-farm jobs, the lowest in 25 years. And, and here I'm not just going to solely blame that on AI. I would say that the primary driver of that is a result of the pandemic completely changing shopping habits. People are just shopping more. They're just shopping differently now. And, an e-commerce store isn't going to need the same amount of employees that a in-store brick and mortar retail establishment is going to need. So, I'm not going to blame that totally on AI, because quite frankly, I think the larger impact that we're seeing with AI in retail is not so much the on the ground place, although we're going to talk about how feet on the ground, in-person, customer facing roles are going to be impacted. But I think what we're seeing now is it's a lot of these middle management, corporate training, in office, answering emails, holding meetings, that a lot of that stuff is being done away with. Right. And also, if you're fresh out of college trying to find a job, I got my degree in business management, there's also business administration. There's a bunch of different business degrees. Guys, if you are going to college to learn how to go into business, which most of those roles are going into retail, management, stuff like that, those jobs are not going to exist in a couple of years. They're already hard to find. I actually recorded a video about this. I'll post a link to it here. Graduate unemployment numbers have skyrocketed. You go to college, you take out $120,000 in loans at a 15% interest rate, and then you can't find a job because these companies are not hiring graduates. And don't just take my word for it. You can watch the video and look at the stats. Unemployment for college graduates is up from 5.8% earlier this year to 6.6% in August. So it's not like the unemployment is just a dream. I'm not just making this up. This is an actual reality that you go to college with this promise of getting this great job, and the job doesn't exist when you get out there because artificial intelligence and automation has replaced the need for you. Okay, it's already happened. And according to Weinberg UD, 6 to 7.5 million retail jobs are at risk of automation. And they say that especially vulnerable are cashiers, floor stockers, customer service roles. And, so I agree to an extent on this, but I don't think this is the pressing problem. Okay, like automated checkouts are a thing. I've used automated checkouts almost every time I go out, when I go to Walmart, when I go to Publix. Anytime there's an automated checkout, I almost always use it. It's just faster, okay? I went to McDonald's, automated checkout. You plug in what you want, they bring it to your table, or maybe a robot brings it to your table. I've experienced that multiple times. But honestly, every time I go to McDonald's, I don't go to McDonald's that often. I just go on special occasions with my kids. That is always the experience. Type in on a big board what I want, a robot brings it out to our table. And maybe I just live in fancy Florida area. I don't know, but that's been my experience. In any event, there's less cashiers needed now than there were in the past. Now you have 1 or 2 cashiers managing 20 self-checkout counters at Walmart, where in the past you would need 20 cashiers working 20 checkout counters. So that's certainly a big shift. Floor stockers, I gotta say, I don't see robots doing that in the immediate future. I think 5 years from now that'll be mainstay, but I think we have time there. Personally, electronic, there used to be roles. I worked in Best Buy when I was in college, and there were roles. There was once a week you had people going around changing out all the labels on all this stuff. Here's the new prices. Here's the new products. Changing up all the labels. That is all going to be electronic here in the very near future. Okay, that's all gonna be electronic, and that's gonna save companies a lot of money, a lot of time. Those will be less jobs for people to do. And you might say, well, they're gonna free up more time to do other stuff. But, okay. In any event, that's gonna happen. I covered that at length. Dynamic AI ticket pricing too, which is amazing. It's already happening. Sweden, Norway, they're already doing it. There's a company called Rema in, I believe it was Sweden, that they are changing their prices up to 100 times per day using the electronic labels. You got to check that out, guys. I'll post a link to that video here because that was a crazy story of what's happening at that company. And that's coming to the United States. Retailers are already rolling out electronic ticket pricing on all their labels, and it's going to be AI generated. They're going to be changing prices all the time. It's kind of wild, but that's going to happen. That's less jobs. So there, listen, is it right around the corner that you're going to walk into a Walmart and there's going to be a robot there saying, "Welcome to Robot, how can I help you?" I don't expect that in the very near future. I expect that we will get there. Already when I go into Walmart and I don't know where an aisle is, when I try to find a human, I can't find him. I just go into my phone and say the item I'm looking for, and it'll tell me which aisle to go into. So that functionality is already there. I think part of the issue here is people need to be more comfortable with the humanoid robots, but humanoid cashiers, self-checkout, all that will happen over time, but I'm not going to go too deep down that rabbit hole. But the robotics technology is just not there yet. I believe that it will get there very soon, and I think that humans will at first think it's really cool, then they'll think it's lame, and they'll eventually realize that, okay, this is the standard, this is just the way that things are now. And you might say, well, Mark, as the AI and the humanoid robots come out, there's not going to be any jobs for humans to do, which means there'll be no money. So the entire economy will crash. And my answer to you is, you might be right. The flip side of that coin is that it will usher in this utopia where money is almost meaningless because everything is so efficient and cost effective that everything is free, which to me, it sounds terrifying. It sounds terrifying to me because in a world like that, humans have very little value in the value chain. And to me, as a man of God and as a man of faith, I believe that humans have infinite value. But in a world where humans aren't really serving jobs, we're just meat buckets walking around, eating and drinking and pleasuring and focused on pleasure. That's not a very exciting future to me. And we need purpose, right? We're men. We need purpose. We put a lot of our personal respect and need for respect in what we do. So in any event, that's a little bit of a side note. Okay, cool. So AI, how is it changing day-to-day already. They're all, guys, this is already happening. Repetitive tasks are already being automated. Floor cleaning, inventory scanning, staff scheduling, a lot of this stuff is already automated. I was speaking to a guy at a conference recently, and what he does is he sells these industrial vacuum cleaners to hotels. And I've seen them in hotels. I was at an event in Meta. I was at a Meta event in Washington, D.C., where I saw these in action. There's a giant robot vacuum. It looks kind of like a giant trash can. It's like a huge Roomba. And it was just vacuuming all the floors. And then it's covering 80%, 90% of the floor space is being vacuumed by a robot. And that's what he's selling. And you're seeing, again, this is what you're seeing in stores all across. It's already happening, okay? Customer service, chatbots are the first contact, and love it or hate it, it is happening. Increasingly, day over day, there's more bots that you're communicating with, not humans. They're handling orders, returns, basic support, and then eventually, if you start, spoiler alert, if you start cursing at it, you'll get a human. But, you know, AI chatbots are already a thing, obviously. Something that I experiment with in my, you know, with the clients that I'm working with too. AI in the supply chain, pricing, labeling, machine learning, forecast the demand before the human can do it, recognize it. The smart electronic shelves, which we talked about, dynamically adjust prices based on demand. AI tracks shelf level inventory in real time. So all this machine learning is only accelerating, guys. And this is a place where AI shines. You still need a human there for the emotional connection, the hi, how can I help you type of vibe, but you don't need the humans there reading charts, reading tables, predicting graphs. The AI can do all that even better. What I also think is interesting here is that there is a rise in the AI executives in retail. And I mean, I think we're about 6 months out from every major corporation, if they're not already there, of every major corporation having a VP of AI or a chief executive AI officer. Every company's going to have that. And Walmart already does have that. They had just hired one of the leads at Instacart, Daniel Danker. He is the EVP of AI acceleration. And you're seeing that at every company is going to be doing that. It's too profound. And again, I just don't get this mentality that people have where they don't think that AI is going to impact their job. I just don't understand this. Like, look at the numbers, guys. Look at the data. It's not complicated. To me, if you're denying that AI is going to have an impact on your world, it's because you're just too scared to kind of embrace how big this thing is. And the speed and the scope of which this is happening is unprecedented. And I was listening to a podcast, Diary of a CEO, with Stephen Bartlett. He had Brett Weinstein on, and that's exactly what he was saying. He just like, I don't know where the hell this is going, but it's happening so fast, and the scope is so large. It's pretty crazy. And again, I don't want to go on a conspiracy rampage here, but I will say that there's this idea of the fourth turning, where every 80 years you have some sort of major collapse, major warfare. And if you go back 80 years, you're going back to World War II, 80 more years, the Civil War, 80 more years, the Revolutionary War. This is just in America. But we could be at the onset of something astoundingly revolutionary, because please believe, when you start replacing all the white collar people and telling them they don't have jobs, they are going to get pissed, they're going to get angry, and they're going to start a revolution. And it's just crazy. So predictions, I've already given you a few predictions here, but here's a couple more. The humanoid robots are going to come. They're going to be giving directions, scanning shelves, assisting at checkout. This is not science fiction, guys. It is coming. You know, I can't predict exactly when, but it will happen. To me, though, and let me preface this again, this stuff is happening again so fast and with such large scope, and it is unpredictable. You know, I spout off predictions from reputable sources like Goldman Sachs, 300 million jobs will be displaced. Just understand that it's impossible to predict exactly where this goes. So at least for me, I'm kind of taking it step by step. What's next? What's next? I can kind of see the farther out in the future you go, the foggier it gets, but I can see directly in front of me, Walmart's laying off middle management. They're streamlining. That's what they're doing. Will they be replacing cashiers with robots? Probably in the future, but who knows? That could be 5 years, that could be 10 years, that could be 20 years. We just don't know. So we can speculate, we can think about it, but what you can say is that, hey, if I'm working a 6-figure job in a corporate office at a big company, and I go through that exercise, how much of those tasks could be automated? My guess is there's a decent amount of them, guys. And quite frankly, you should already proactively thinking about how you can automate them, how you can use AI to serve your roles, and then go to your superiors. And you might say, Mark, that's crazy. Go to your superiors and say, hey, I think I could use AI to do my job better. Because you know what's going to happen? When the time comes for job cuts to be made, who are they going to want to keep on? The guy that's thinking differently about how they can use AI and automation to work more efficiently and add to the bottom line and the value of the company? Or are they going to get rid of the guy that's showing up, taking cigarette breaks, not, kind of checked out? This is the time to be dialed in, boys. This is the time to be dialed in. Retail jobs. Okay, another prediction. They aren't going to disappear entirely, but they will shift. And I just kind of talked about that. You need to be managing the AI systems. You need to be automated. You need to be thinking about these new roles. Now is the time, guys, where reskilling is it is so important. It is so important. And I don't want to come in here and give you this huge kind of over the top prediction, but what I would again suggest, take a couple minutes, write down a list of what you do, try to see what can be automated with AI, with AI and robotics and so on and so forth. Just go through this process. Try to find ways, try to make yourself more valuable to your organization because of the tools that you're using. This is the way, guys. This is the way. And for all y'all out there, thanks for subscribing to the channel, by the way. And look, I can only get to so many topics in these videos. If you want to get all the topics, the most recent, most new pressing news that impacts your world in the realm of AI, subscribe to my newsletter, aiupdate.ai. I send out a daily newsletter Monday through Saturday. On Sundays we rest, but I send out a daily newsletter Monday through Saturday. It'll take you 3 minutes to read through it, and you're going to get an idea of what I'm looking at personally, what you should be paying attention to. It's at aiupdate.ai. And for all y'all out there that are saying, this is not going to happen, it's all just a bubble, this is all hype, the layoffs, AI is just an excuse to lay off people, go watch yesterday's video. Go watch yesterday's video where we talk about the hype train, about what's happening with revenue, what's happening with profits, what are the big corporate tech giants doing. Watch yesterday's video, thank me later, and I'll see you there, boys. See ya, peace.